Round one is in the books, but we still got 2 amazing days left. Days 2 and 3 of the NFL draft are still coming, and I'm going to break down some of the most intriguing names still on the board for day 2, and we're going to look at some sleepers that you need to keep an eye out on day 3 so that you will be the one looking the smartest in front of your friends. How's it going, everybody? I am Andrew Wilbar. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to give you several players. This is not going to be a long video, but I do want to give you a few players to keep an eye on. We're going to start in the second round prospects. Some players that I expected to go in the first round. Guys that I had going in my mock draft in the first round, which, by the way, I got 10 right, which isn't too bad. You can go and check out the full mock at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com along with all of our BTSC big board things. I have a ton of draft content coming out there, so you need to go and check that out. BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, not just for Steelers fans, has a ton of great draft content there. I hope you all go and check that out. But for guys that I thought were going to go last night, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is the second highest rated player on my board. Azeez Ojulari is first, but of course there is a little bit of an injury concern there. Apparently has some degenerative leg issues. But Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is another guy and stuff. I thought, with his sideline-to-sideline speed, his versatility, his range, I thought for sure that a team like Cleveland or New Orleans or Green Bay would have taken a shot on him at the end of the first round. The pick that really surprised me last night was Peyton Turner. On my rankings, I'm not going to joke, which I have right here. These are the players going off, all right? Peyton Turner is on the third page at 258, okay? Peyton Turner's 258th player on my board, going, 28th overall, whatever it was. And so if that was the craziest pick in the first round, I give that grade an F. Nonetheless, we're going to move on. Because we are talking about guys that are still on the board. A couple of other my favorite players available that you'll find in round 2. Joseph Ossai, he's my 21st rated player. An extremely explosive player off the edge for Texas. Uses his hands really well, just has a natural feel for getting after the quarterback. I believe he has a chance to be a double-digit sack per year player in the NFL. Samuel Cosmi, his teammate from Texas, his arms are a little bit shorter. He's a little bit long. A lot of people think he's going to move inside to guard, which that's a possibility. But this guy has all-pro potential. He is a freak athlete. I really like his his pass sets. He does a pretty good job of lowering the pads as a run blocker as well. Yes, footwork needs a little bit of work, and there's a few other areas in his game that need to improve. But overall, I really do like him as a prospect. Samuel Cosmi was one other guy. Pat Freiermuth is my next highest rated player, which makes him my 5th highest rated player. I'm a huge fan of Freiermuth. I don't know why he's dropping. I've seen some mock drafts have him going into the 3rd round. If he is there at pick 55 for the Steelers, I certainly hope the Steelers will take a chance on him. But he is a good inline blocker. He's a good athlete. If he would have ran in his pro day, which he wasn't, he decided not to run. I believe he would have run in the 4.6s. He's not quite Gronk Jr., but he is a really good athlete. I think he has a chance to be a top 10 tight end in the NFL. And the Steelers need some more stability there with only really Eric Ebron is the only guy that you would really consider a guy that's going to be making the roster at the beginning of the year. A lot of people are talking about Tommy Tremble in round 3. I'm not quite as high on him because I think he's a little bit overrated as a blocker. He's more of a flex wide receiver type blocker, guy that can go in the slot, fend off corners, but that's about it. Christian Barmore is the other guy. I have him rated 27th. I did have a late first round grade on him. I'm surprised he's still on the board. I thought for sure Tampa Bay would take him at 32. I had him mocked to Cleveland at 26. I'm surprised nobody took him, but there's several teams coming up at the beginning of the second round. I expect him either at 33. By the time we get to pick 40, I would be shocked if he's still on the board. But there's a lot of good names out there that were there. Several players we didn't really expect going in the first round. I know Elijah Moore I thought would have gone ahead of Kadarius Toney. That was a little bit of a surprise. Of course, the Peyton Turner pick we already talked about. But there's some good players there. Some good offensive linemen. All of the centers are still available. Creed Humphrey and Landon Dickerson. Those guys are probably going to go in the second round as well. But now I'd like to get in. Well, actually, I'm going to give you one more name in the second round, and that's Davis Mills. I thought he was going to. I had him in my mock draft to Tampa Bay. Washington. I had Washington trading up to 31, but I thought that Tampa Bay could have been a possibility as well at 32. I'm looking at teams like Washington still, or potentially if you look at some other teams that are still in need. Maybe Denver makes that move. I don't think so now that they brought in Teddy Bridgewater, but it wouldn't shock me. He would be a nice fit for what they want to do there. But there's still several teams in need of a quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if they went that route. But I think Washington should be considered the front runner for Davis Mills at this point. Moving to day 3 sleepers. And I wrote an article about this about a week ago at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. If you search for it, you can dig it up there. I'll try to leave the link in the comment section or in the description, one of the two. So be sure to check that out. But some day 3 sleepers. Patrick Johnson, edge rusher from Tulane. One of my favorite day 3 sleepers. Probably my favorite defensive sleeper. Does a really good job of setting the edge in the run game. I just really like his game as a whole. Has decent bend around the edge. Perfect fit for a 3-4 system. Elijah Mitchell, running back, Louisiana. If you watch his game against a stout Iowa State defense this past season, it blew me away and stuff. The holes weren't always there, but he made things happen. He has good power. Played at 218 pounds. He slimmed up at his pro day. Got down to about, I believe it was 201 pounds, but he ran a 4.38 at his pro day. I think he's going to get back to that 220-pound range in the NFL. But this guy has great balance through contact, has good speed, good vision, excellent burst in the open field. I really like this guy's game as a whole. Decent pass blocker, decent receiver out of the backfield as well. So this guy, I believe, is going to be a starter in the NFL. As a Steelers fan, I did not want a running back in the first round exactly for that reason, because Elijah Mitchell is going to be a steal on day 3 for some team. I don't know where he's going to go, but I believe he has a chance to be a starter down the line. A couple other guys we're going to get into, and then we will be done for the day. Another edge rusher that's probably going to be more in the 7th round range, Chris Garrett, edge rusher from Concordia St. Paul. He averaged 1.3 sacks per game in college, okay? Played like 34 games, had like 40-some sacks in college, had like 15 forced fumbles, 18 quarterback hits. I mean, the numbers are insane. And you say, he's a Division III school. Well, if we look at guys that have played in Division II, Division III, actually I believe it's Division II, actually, not Division III. But we've seen guys and stuff. We've seen Quinn Maynards this year. He's going to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick probably. And I believe that if you look at him, I believe Chris Garrett was the more productive player, and he's a freak of nature in terms of athleticism. He's super speedy. He needs to learn to use other things other than just his speed to get to the quarterback. But you look at other guys, Kyle Duggar last year, Ben Barch, all the other players that were good, Division II and Division III prospects. Chris Garrett, I think, is just as athletic and more productive than all of those guys were. Nasir Adderley, all of those guys, I believe, none of those guys were as good as what Chris Garrett was at Concordia St. Paul. So I believe he's going to be a steal of the draft if he even gets drafted. He may be undrafted. But a couple other guys I'm going to give you real quick. Brock Wright, tight end, Notre Dame, only had 7 career college catches, but he ran a 4.62 at his pro day. Really good inline blocker. I think he's capable of more at the next level. Matt Bushman, tight end from BYU, who tore his ACL this past year, but was Zach Wilson's top target the year previous. A little bit older prospect, but has a chance to come in and make an immediate impact for a team. A couple other guys, Anthony Schwartz, if he falls that far. I don't think Nico Collins falls that far either, but Nico Collins in the 3rd round is going to be a steal for somebody. Talanoa Hufanga, safety from USC, 4th, 5th round range, got to keep an eye on. And then another guy in that 6th to 7th round range that I believe you should keep an eye on is Mac McCain, corner from North Carolina A&T. Super sticky in coverage. When you watch him, he reminds you a little bit of Jalen Ramsey. Not saying he is, but he has a lot of similarities. Ran a 4.45 at his pro day, about 5'11", 200 pounds. Is really good in zone, but he's also sticky in press man. Needs to learn to not be quite as handsy, but I like his upside. And that's going to do it all for today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any NFL draft questions, comments, put them in the comment section. I will answer them on the next video. And be sure to check out BehindTheSteelCurtain.com where you can find all my work. That's going to do it all for today. Enjoy the rest of the draft. We'll see you on the next one.